Ethics. According to John Day, ethics is the study of what are good and bad ends to pursue in life, and what is right and wrong to do in the conduct of life. It is above all a practical discipline. Its primary aim is to determine how one ought to live and what actions one ought to do in the conduct of one's life. Now, what does it mean to live an ethical life? For me, to live an ethical life is to have a purposive relationship to value. And to live a religiously ethical life, since I'm a Christian, is to have a purposive relationship to the supreme value. Now, what does it mean? It means that there are certain values in the field of epistemic, moral, and aesthetic that appears in the world, and they draw us out of ourselves. They are a phenomena that calls us to honor them and to integrate them into our lives. So, for example, there are mathematical and philosophical truths that captivate our mind and set us on a journey of discovery. Moral truths displayed in the life of the saints and heroes of our tradition steer our will into imitation. And artistic beauty, such as Picasso's painting, a Beethoven sonata, and Shakespeare's writing, compels us to wonder and in turn to create or imitate. To order one's life in such a way that one continually seeks such values is to have a properly ethical life. Now, the wise soul understands that there are transcendent source of these values, a supreme unconditioned good, truth, and beauty. The fully ethical life is one that is dedicated finally to that reality. In fact, Plato said that the culminating point of all philosophical enterprise is discovering beyond all particular goods the form of the good. Something he compared to the sun by whose light we see all things. Aristotle said that the highest life is in contemplating the unmoved mover, the cause of all effects. And the Bible speaks of loving the Lord our God with all our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength. Thomas Aquinas, the great saint and theologian, put it this way: every particular act of the will is predicated upon some value, some concrete good, but that value is nest upon in a higher value or sets of values, which in turn nest still in a higher one. Eventually, we come to the supreme good that determines and orders all the subordinate goods that we seek. So, for example, right now, I'm making this video, and that particular act of my will is nest in a higher set of values. Kaya ginahimo na ako ning video para maka-pass ko aning subject, and that desire to pass the subject is nest still in a higher value because I want to graduate in college and get a job. So with any act of the will, I can do this kind of nesting analysis and see that finally every particular act of the will is grounded in a desire for something perceived to be the highest good. Lastly, let me share an analogy of what does it look like to live an ethical life. So imagine we as a human beings are like a fleet of ships, mga barko in formation. So to live a properly ethical life requires three things. First, every ship must stay out of each other's path. Dapat dili ta magbinanggaanay. Second, every ship must be seaworthy. Dapat tanan parts sa atong barko is ready ug walay guba and everything is in proper order. Third, the fleet of ship must be on its proper course. Kung gusto ta moadto sa Japan, nya naabot ta sa South Korea, then something has gone wrong sa atong course. Now, what does it have to do with ethics? Ethics is like the fleet of ships and is concerned with three things. First, ethics is social. It is concerned with the fairness and harmony between people. Second, ethics is individual. It is also concerned with the harmony within the individual person. And finally, ethics have a purpose connected to the overall purpose of the human life, which is to have a proper relationship with the highest good, which is God.